Welcome back to the Lifetimes Podcast. I'm your host, Lloyd Phillips.
And I'm Leighton Rowan.
And, it's good to be back. There's some time spent. For those of you that don't know, I've been in Pittsburgh, America, and I got hung up there for about 3 weeks. And when you don't have a home studio in Pittsburgh, it's tough to kick these out sometimes. So my apologies, everybody. How's everybody been doing? I mean, there's some stuff I haven't even talked about like this whole time. I rescued a cow after a tornado. It was a tornado cow. It was really like a miracle cow.
Yeah, from the pictures on Facebook, it looked like it was a very, very random cow that was lost.
Yeah, and so I rescued. I never even talked about this. It's like I'm the hero to the community for people that like milk and beef. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, there's that. I was at the furry convention, just things I'm going to get to in the show, but I did the National Furry Convention. It was in Pittsburgh. And so I wasn't a participant. It's not really my game. As a matter of fact, there's some stray cats there. In some of their minds, literally. There's some stray cats.
That would have been a moment where you do the...
Yeah.
That was...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got a soundboard here. I forgot that. Anyway, so I was at these events. Let's just get to the tornado. And people ask me about this in Pittsburgh. They're like, hey, you live in Oklahoma. I mean, how do you deal with the tornadoes? Several people over the months have said that's their reference to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, how do you live in Oklahoma? Are you scared of tornadoes? And here's what I think. Here's the reality of this because everybody else, if you don't live in an area where there's tornadoes, you don't really know that most people just stand on their porch and watch them. If you have a cellar, you 100% just sit on your porch and watch them. The only thing I'm actually scared of during those times is lightning.
Yes, because the lightning ramps up as the tornado moves in.
Right now, that's scary. So here's the actual story. It said 100-mile-an-hour winds coming to the Tulsa area. The news source said take cover now, and they were saying that already, but you're dragging your feet. Well, when the tornado sirens light up, that's when people really, you might want to have some movement because they usually see a certain cloud rotation or an actual tornado is spotted, and that's usually when they hit the sirens. That's what it is. So the sirens went off, and I'm like, we got to go right now. And my youngest daughter, what was she doing? Putting on makeup or something. The oldest daughter. I was like, hey, we got to go now. Like, now. The sirens are going. We got to go. See, in my childhood, when the sirens go off, you go to the cellar and you get there right then, right now. And so I was like, we got to go now. She's like, I'm doing a couple more things. We're not doing a couple more things. Get out now. The sirens are on. We're not doing a couple more things. Let's go. Let's go. I'm talking just like this because she said 3 times. She's like, let me finish. I just got a couple more things. Well, I don't care what your things are. We got to go. Like, we're going to die in a tornado. So, and I did start talking like that because what she was saying. So she finally came out and was mad about it. And so there was no actual tornado. It was like 3 or 4 miles away.
Yeah, it was more like tornadic winds, which is equally as damaging sometimes.
Right, 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
So when we walked out, it had just started to rain because there's heavy rain mixed in, usually on the fronts there or the back end. But so heavy rain started, and then we're driving to my friend's house. The wind started blowing, and the wind was blowing pretty good. I wouldn't say 100 mile an hour. We get out of the vehicle. We run up to the back gate, and he's got a lock on there. Like a lock. I don't remember. I gotta jiggle this thing. I can't get it off. And at that moment, and here's where I really started to panic. And at this point, what I actually thought about was Wizard of Oz. I'm not playing. Because in Wizard of Oz, Dorothy gets swept up because she can't get in the cellar, if you remember that show. But the 100-mile-an-hour winds now hit, and I'm trying to jiggle this lock. And the freedom is 15 feet away.
Yeah.
And this is like a movie because Blake's at his cellar door going, come on. At this point, somewhere else in the neighborhood, trampolines are flying all over the thing. His furniture, his tables scattered like
basketball goals.
Oh, everywhere.
Yeah.
So I get it unhinged. We all run down in the cellar, and then that's it. Once you're in the cellar, you're fine. But it was lightning too much to really just hold the door open, and it was raining. So that in itself is the story. We're in the cellar like 15 something minutes. And now we get out. So Blake's like, hey, do you want to drive around and see the damage? You know, my friend, he's like, hey, let's go see the damage. I was like, okay, sure. Well, we leave his house at the same time. I go to his house. He should have picked me up in 30 seconds, right? Because we left at the same time. I was before him. I don't know. I passed on. 5 minutes later, I call him. He doesn't answer. His wife calls me back. She's like, Lloyd, you got to get here now. And I was like, what? And she's like, oh, you got to see it. I said, okay. What am I looking? She's like, you just have to get here. So I walk. She said it was like 3 houses down. So I walk, and they're stopped in the center of the road. And my buddy Kurt, who didn't go to the cellar. By the way, I passed him on the way to the cellar. He's standing out there with one of his kids, just staring at the thing. And I'm like, you know, just in the driveway. I'm like, Kurt, get to the cellar. And I was like, take off. He never left. Kurt's out there, no shirt, no shoes. He's got a steer roped, and my buddy Blake got out to help him. He's got a steer rope with an extension cord around its neck, and he had it tied to a light pole. It snapped the extension cord. So now we got Blake and Kurt out there, wrapped an extension cord wrapped around their hands, fighting this steer, and it's just jumping like it's a bucking bull, and it's running crazy, and it's just, you know, those old cartoons where you're trying to drag a horse or a donkey,
yeah,
and they put their back legs down and dig. That's what it's doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they're like, his wife, Kurt's wife, she's like, help, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, grab the extension cord? They got it wrapped around their hands. Like whatever. I didn't. I don't know. It just didn't look like a 3-man job. That's why I didn't know what to say. So I just started. I just videoed. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was a terrible video because the wind was blowing like crazy. It was still raining. But those 100-mile-an-hour winds were gone. Well, fighting the thing. They're fighting the thing for like 10 or 15 minutes. Now, when I finally get up, I turn the video camera off to actually help. So, but I walk up to the cow and it's still fighting them. It's like it's pulling. All I can see are solid white eyeballs. That's all I can see. I'm like, they're choking this. Its eyes is like blown out of its head. And I'm like, they're going to kill this thing, like trying to get it in the fence. So I'm like, we don't know whose cow it is. Technically, it was a steer, by the way. If we're going to get real technical here, it was a steer is what it was. But for the sake of the rest of the world, if you don't know, we're just call it a cow. You can't get this cow in the fence. We're dragging it down the road. And then this guy pulls up and just he has overalls on, which is a relief for us.
Yeah.
Because he's got overalls.
Yes.
I know this guy knows about cows.
Yes.
And he gets out and he starts putting gloves on. And he's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're assuming this steer came from, cow. That's what we were calling it. We're assuming this cow came from over there in the field. And so, you know, we dragged that thing about half mile, seemed like quarter mile probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably quarter of a mile. And so I was like, we're just trying to get it over there. And so he said, yeah, it goes over there. And we're like, oh, yeah, do you know this cow? He's like, yeah, it's mine. So he was okay. That's the guy, right? So once he gets involved, they put a regular rope. They take the extension cord off, you know, and he proceeds to tell us, because this cow was running wild. It was slipping and sliding. It was blind. It was a blind.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was a blind steer. So in the cow world, when flies are bad, flies will like start to eat their eyelids and gets infected, gives them pink eye, and they can't see. That's the backstory of the cow. He puts a regular rope on, drag him a little further. Once we get to the highway, you got to cross this 2-lane road before the fence. Right when he hits the road, the cow then went from being drugged to it took off. Like somehow in its blind state, it ran towards the field, which is funny because there's this drainage ditch and there's a barbed wire fence. It was down on the lowest level, so you couldn't see it through the tall grass. And beyond that were 2 strands of like hot fence, you know, like electric fence. Which so my buddy Blake at this point, I'll spare you the details of all the story, but me and Blake didn't have the cow. The cow took off. It was just Kurt and the owner. Kurt, remember, he doesn't have any shoes on. And the owner was kind of a big guy himself. That cow drugged them. It tripped them up on the barbed wire fence, and then it ran right through the hot wire. They both got shocked and never let go of the rope. Like, this is serious. Kurt's, like, he's like, that fence is hot. You know, he like yells to us because he thought he about passed out. They get to the center of the field. I'll shorten the story. It's getting long-winded. He had to lead it all the way to the other cows because it was blind. Just because you're in the fence, you couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
The problem is it was a lightning storm, like straight up lightning storm. And so I started getting nervous. Like, are we going to die? Are we going to die out here for a blind steer that's probably not going to make it anyway? I mean, eventually, it's not going to have a long life. It's probably going to eat it or whatever you do.
Yeah, eventually you'll be able to order them off of Brahms menu.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I'm not dying. So I'm like, God, every time lightning would hit, I was like, I'm not dying out here in this. I'm not doing it. And it would hit. And then we finally got the cow where it had to go. And literally, when it reached the herd, there was lightning right in front of us, and it hit a tree, like right in front of us. And I mean, it will. You know when you start counting the seconds before the thunder hits, and you can equate to like miles? No. The blast was right in front of us, right there. It was right in front of us in the field. I'm actually shocked we didn't like have a little hair stand up. It was pretty close. We saved the cow's life. We walked back. Now it's raining. It's been raining on us this entire time. Lightning storm actually kind of went down. And what he says is like, I'm going to give you boys some beef. That's what he said. I'm going to give you boys some beef for helping get this cow in. I was like, oh, thank you very much. I don't believe any beef has exchanged hands at this time. I almost died trying to rescue your steer, and no beef has exchanged hands. Not one time. I mean, it's really unbelievable. And then he walks, and just to add to the story, I don't know the guy. I've never met the guy. And we walked back out into the street. He gave us the beef talk, which we never know, just what I told you. And then his wife left him. So we're like, well, do you want us to drive you home? And he said no. And just like all the movies, where the hero, he just walks off into the darkness into the field.
Yeah, he did.
Never seen the guy since. Don't know anything about him.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. That last statement's not entirely true. Turns out a kid I went to high school with, it's his uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The story was better the original way you told it.
Yeah.
Like he just walked off into the dark and you never saw him.
Yeah, let's cut that part.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that was, did the cow make it? Yes. Did I help rescue the cow? Yeah, probably. I don't feel like I was the ringleader rescue. I wasn't the number one hero in this story. I'm going to go Kurt. Yeah, Kurt got stepped on. He got kicked in the genitalia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why when I first walked up, he said, "Watch out, Lloyd, it'll kick you in the nuts." So I'm like, all right. Well, now he didn't have to tell me that because I've told this before, but I did FFA for 6 months of my life. 6 months. And I only did it because I was a freshman. These senior girls, they were older. I thought they were, I thought they were something.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get an FFA, see what happens. Now, I got to be honest. I didn't want to get up early, and I had this hog, and I'll spare you all that story, which I've told before, but I'll just get to this part. I was getting water for my hog at the fair, the county fair, the one show I ever did. I was getting water, and a steer was tied up right by the water spigot there. Well, that steer started turning towards me. I didn't think anything about it. It was just a steer, like wasn't even that tall, like 4 feet tall, whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess if in steer language, you're like, how many pounds? I don't know, 600 pounds.
Yeah.
He put his butt towards me, and I didn't like it, so I went to push him. And when I pushed his back hip there, he kicked, and he kicked me right in the knee.
Oof.
I couldn't breathe for a minute. Like when you hit your shins, you about pass out.
Yeah.
You heard that happened?
Yeah,
That's what happened. Oh, that was serious. That was serious stuff. So when Kurt's like, "Hey, he'll kick you in the nuts," yes, I knew that. I for sure they kick you in the knee. I don't know what happened to Kurt, but and he got electrocuted. Well, that means death, by the way. Electrocution, for those of you education moment. Electrocution means death. He got shocked pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he ran through the fence there. Anyway, solid night.
How I can't remember the time frame because I was weeks back. How long were you here after the storm?
I flew out the next day.
Oh, okay. So you weren't a part of the. So we had from that storm, we had a ton of power outages, which meant I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Which meant that traffic lights were down. If you were here, you would have lost your mind because I've rode with you and I know how you like to drive. People have totally forgotten how a four-way stop works, and I put that in my podcast notes because the 5th day in, I was gonna lose my mind.
What?
They just don't know how to four-way. I don't know how they even got their driver's license if they don't know how a four-way stop works. It's just it was just chaos until power got cut back on for a week.
Well, hey, I don't. Here's what confuses me about four ways.
Mm-hmm.
When it's not just like one lane, when it's not a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
Because that's easy.
Yep.
But when you have 2 lanes, if one doesn't pull up at the exact same time that the other one's been sitting there, if you don't follow him at the same time, it throws off the.
Yes, it throws off everything.
So it was the 4-way in the highway, right?
All over.
Yeah.
City, yeah. And nobody knew how to do any of it.
Well, listen, I feel like I'm the master of the Pittsburgh streets.
Yeah.
I got this thing down. Yeah. The speed limits are 35 miles an hour. And people drive 65. Nobody's ever been pulled over. They don't pull anybody over there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have the guts to do that. Because that's a big ticket.
I'm just saying, like I'm every day. It happens every day. And it's really weird. But I don't know. I feel like Tulsa police officers. I don't feel like they make lots of traffic stops. I guess you'd have to be an actual traffic cop. But I think those other cops, I don't think they just. I think they have better things to do than to pull over people that are driving 10 miles an hour over.
Well, that, and I believe, from what I have heard allegedly, I believe that involves a lot of paperwork as well that they do not prefer to do.
See, I don't know. I mean, I got a lot of police officer buddies, so it shouldn't be that big of a thing to find out. Do they have to write reports for traffic stops?
I believe so. I mean, the audience could be screaming at us right now, but I think they do.
Huh. Well, I mean, I know they do for events. I was with a police officer one time, so I'm going to be very broad because I don't, some people are not going to like what I'm about to tell them. But I was with a police officer one time, and they had a roadblock. Those.
Yep.
Those ones they just have out in the middle of nowhere, and they pulled over this van full of guys who didn't have identification, and they only spoke Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
At least they said they did, or whatever. Well, no, they didn't actually say I only speak Spanish because they just spoke Spanish, and they didn't have any ID on them, and the guy let them go because he's like, I'm not doing that report.
Oh my gosh!
Like I don't. That's what he said.
I've watched shows like Live PD or whatever it's called now. And yeah, like that happens to where whether they can or can't, they say they can't speak English, and so if they're not in a town where they have someone who can, I mean it's a nightmare. I can't imagine dealing with
that. So I speak a little Spanish, like I have for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in no way fluent. It's the same way I answer about playing the guitar. People, they'll say, "Can you play the guitar?" And my answer to that is this, and I'm being serious. I was like, if you don't play the guitar, then I play the guitar. But if you play the guitar, I don't. I don't really.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Yep.
If you speak Spanish, I don't. But if you don't, then I do a little.
Yeah.
So I can speak Spanish to get by on job sites. If you work around the same industry enough, like what, you learn. So the other day on this project that I'm on, this particular crew, they only spoke Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to tell them, well, the superintendent who does not speak any Spanish whatsoever, he, to the guys who speak Spanish, I probably sounded like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Because the words that were coming out, I'm putting them in the order of English.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's different Spanish. It's reversed.
Yep.
So they get what I was saying. But that guy though, he's like, I didn't know you spoke Spanish, And he's telling everybody, he's like, look, speak Spanish, you know that? and he's making it look like I've been teaching Spanish class in Mexico City for 12 years.
And those guys that you're talking to are probably like, he does not know how to speak Spanish.
Oh, yeah, well, they knew what I was saying, like I said.
Yes.
But yeah, 100%. They know how to, because I'm over there trying to like stutter out I don't even know the example of what I was asking them for, but really trying to say it right, and it wasn't coming out. I had to say it like 3 times.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what was that? Where was I going with that? I don't remember where I was going with that. Where was I going with that? Yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, the furry man. The furry convention. Now I've known that thing. We even had an episode called actually in podcast language or world. I talked about furries, and I think it was after that I discovered that Pittsburgh had this furry thing coming.
Yeah,
something like that.
No, it was that sequence.
Yeah. So, and then I said out loud, I was like, "Oh, I'm not going," and then you said, "Oh, you are going."
Yeah, you have to go.
Yeah. Now, it fell on the weekends, and I'm not there every weekend. As a matter of fact, most weekends I'm not there. So the people were coming in on Thursday. The event started on Thursday. I walk into the hotel that day. I'm in the parking. I push the button. I don't know what direction. It doesn't matter. It's like the story. I push the button. The elevator opens, and I'm looking at 2 very elaborate furries. Now, this is what happened. Now, because, like people, I think people who think they're animals, I think you're weird. I mean, you're weird. You got mental problems. If they really actually believe it, if they really truly believe it, then you have mental problems. There's no 2 ways about it. Like you're a human. You're not a cat. Don't be an idiot. Right. But this thing opens and I see these very elaborate furries. And I got to be honest, my instinct was not to make fun. My instinct was thinking, those are very elaborate suits.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I mean, these would be some of the finest mascots at sporting events ever made. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's probably strange if you think that you're that animal, but it was pretty cool. I don't know. And in this case, I get on the elevator, and we're going up, and they're speaking. The costume guys are just normal, like they're talking normal, but they're in the costume, and they both have girls with them. I mean, there's some stray cats too, but they both have girls with them. And so we got off the elevator. So maybe I got on from a high floor going to the lobby, and since they were talking, I held the door open for one, like put my hand there, and in like regular talk, he's like, "Thank you." I was like, "Yeah, have a good day, sir." I mean, he was a dude. I heard him talk, right? So. But some of these people think they're animals, so I tried to be nice about it, right? So I was like, "Have a good day, sir." And I was like, what? Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I know what you mean." so I'm like, I was trying to be nice, and he got it right. Now in the lobby though, so the very first 2 people I saw, they were very elaborate costumes. The people in the lobby. Not all furries are high class. In the furry world, I've learned there's some low budget furries too. So, and it gets real bad. So you get these dudes with elaborate full body costumes, and then you have people that just have the heads on with the tail, just wearing regular shoes, and you can see their legs and all that. And then you have people that wear regular clothes and just wear just the ears.
What? I feel like that's insulting to the furry community.
No, because those are the ones that act like they're
like they're like meowing and stuff.
Yeah, which I got in the elevator, and one who didn't even have a costume on, when the furry would talk, it would only it made a moo sound.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question.
I'm just saying.
I have a question. Because when I think of furry, I think of like cat and dog. Like, are there like more? Are they like every animal, or do they make up? Like, what did you see?
I don't even think like those very elaborate costumes.
Yeah.
I mean, they were animalish based, but they just were awesome costumes. I don't even think they're an animal. They probably would tell you they were one. I didn't ask them what they were.
Yeah, maybe they're like mythic creatures.
Yeah, it's probably more like that. But but it looked fancy. So I didn't even make fun of them because I was thinking like, That's okay. I know this is different for me. Like I think I'm not into this, but those are pretty fancy.
Yeah,
costumes. That's all I thought.
And they probably cost them a pretty penny if they're.
Yeah, I heard they're like $10,000 or $15,000.
Oh my gosh!
And some are more expensive because they have air conditioners in them.
What?
Yeah. And then but they would wear these during the day. During the day they had the events, which I didn't go to. I so wanted to go after that because I can't believe what I'm seeing. But they had these events during the day, so they're walking the streets of Pittsburgh in costume. It's 100 degrees. That day it was like 94 degrees outside, 92 somewhere in there. These people are like stroking out on the side of the. You know what? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be honest, guys. If you have a heat stroke because you're wearing a furry suit, you deserve to have that heat stroke. You can't walk around at 92 degrees in your giant furry suit. And like, I can't come out of it. This is my life. I can't come out of it. Well, then you're stupid. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not. Let's don't even pull punches when it comes to that.
Yeah.
If you go out at 92 and you have a heat stroke because you refuse to take off by the way, some people are smart. Survival. Their survival language. Walking around, it's hot. Several people were just holding their heads walking around downtown because it was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the thing. I didn't. The strangest thing though, and so I said I was going to bring this up because the lowest budget furry I came across. I always, before I make fun of certain things, I don't want to offend certain people. COVID is real, right? It's a fact. I had it twice. My smell went away. All that.
Yep.
I'm not denying the fact that COVID is real. I had my brother almost passed away, and I have friends who has family who has passed away because of it. So I'm not bashing that. I am going to make this statement though, and somebody could argue with me whatever they want. I don't believe wearing a mask helps. I don't believe wearing a mask ever helped ever. I just think that if you put a T-shirt on and you expect that to lock out a 0.5 micron thing or whatever it is, 0.5, I don't remember, something like that. That's just crazy talk. It's just pure stupidity.
Yeah.
I'm just saying all that because...
Well, and I mean, to back you up, I mean, it's kind of like a fact now. How many ever years later they came out and said, hey, we were wrong about this. They don't work. So there you go.
Yeah, but then other people are getting slammed because you don't wear a mask. Right now, and I'm not going to mention names, but there is a mother-daughter combo, and the daughter doesn't talk to the mom anymore because she didn't get the COVID shot.
Yeah, that's...
just stuff like that. And whether it helped or it didn't help, I don't know. I'm not getting in that debate. I'm just simply saying the mask didn't work, right? So
I don't want to steer it too left. But that's like equating like, I'm not going to be friends with you because you voted for X president. Like that. That's so stupid.
Yeah, that's why I don't like people like this.
It's so dumb.
I don't.
Anyways,
I don't talk to people like that.
Yeah.
At all, just because that's just. Like if somebody were to get mad at me for that, then I don't care. You can die for all I care. I don't care.
Well, that was very extreme.
Oh, that is extreme. I apologize. Don't die. I don't.
If the furries don't burn this podcast down, that statement will.
Well, yeah, that was harsh. Actually, that was harsh. And I'm going to church camp this week, so
yes.
I got to think better. We got to think better. And I don't mean I hope. Wait,
I know that you literally don't mean that.
Did I just say I hope you don't?
No. You said you might as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever. So here's where I'm going. I told all that because we got a little sidetracked. There's a girl that's waiting at downstairs, and she has a tail on, and she has just the earpieces, and she has a mask on, and she's wearing a lot of rainbow stuff. And so, we're different people.
Yep.
And so, but I'm still nice to everybody. She's waiting for the elevator. So some other people walk up from the other side. She takes a couple steps towards the elevator. Those people who approached from the other side walked on. So she took a step back, and they're like, "Do you want on?" She's like, "No, thank you." And then they went up. I don't know yet, right? I'm just still waiting because I'm behind her, and I thought, well, that's odd. So the next elevator comes. There's more people. It opens. People walk in. They don't have masks on, by the way. Oh, we don't know this yet, but now I guess I gave it away. So she took a step towards it, and they're like, "You want in?" She's like, "No." Like, "Well, there's a room." She's like, "No, I don't ride in the elevator unless people wear masks." I swear.
This was like
This was last 2 weeks ago, whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm behind her. And so I was like, hey, listen. I just want you to know that you're going to be waiting here a while if that's the game you're doing. Because nobody wears masks anymore because they don't work. That never worked. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Now, you could take that as being rude or whatever because I probably came off. Just because I was direct about it, it probably seemed rude. That's not really what I was trying to do. And she's like, but she didn't even act mad. And then she asked me, how are you? I was like, I'm good. How are you doing? Why are you here? Like, it was a regular.
So she probably didn't take it to offense then.
It was a regular conversation, which was weird because,
she was wearing a Dell.
She thinks she's a cat. Yeah. So, but it was like normal conversation.
Yeah.
So the next elevator came. It's just me and her, and it went up, and I was like, and she looked at me. I'm like, you better get up there now because I'm telling you, people aren't wearing masks anymore. You're gonna be down here all night long waiting on that.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, yep, you're welcome. What a stray cat. I'll give you this tape. I'm not making fun of any of these people. I'm telling the stories, making fun of the issues, not the people themselves. Just the fact, I don't care what you think about me. If you think I'm making fun of furries and you're like, that's rude, you're an idiot. If you get mad about that, it's not normal. That's not normal. And now if you're just doing it because you're into it, like it's Comic-Con,
exactly,
I'm cool with that.
Yep,
I'm actually cool with that.
Yep.
It's like people wearing Darth Vader gear at Comic. I don't care about that.
Yep.
They don't think they're Darth Vader.
No.
The ones that think they're animals, that's my actual hang-up.
Or if somebody dresses up at Comic-Con as Darth Vader and they actually think that they're Darth Vader,
I think they got mental problems.
Equally as weird.
Yeah. So I'm not even making fun of the fact. I saw a regular. I'll give you an example. I saw a regular kid. He looks regular, but I stay at the DoubleTree downtown Pittsburgh. I've been there for months, so I know the people that are in there. Any 20-something there wearing some kind of anime T-shirt on those particular days. I know why they're there.
Yep.
And so this kid, but he had his shirt tucked in, and he looked like a normal kid, and he wasn't wearing anything. And I said, "Hey man, you here for the furry? Are you here for the furry convention?" Just like this, like the, "You here for the furry convention?" She's like, "Yep, I love it." I'm like, I like that. Because he had, there's no shame.
Oh no,
he loved it. He's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, well, that's cool. I was like, when's it start or where is it? Because at this point I thought if I got 10 minutes, I got to get over there.
Yeah.
I got to check this place out. He's like, I haven't been to this one. I've only been to Chicago. He's like, this is the good one. So I'm like, that's what he said. So apparently it was a thing. And that's really my whole furry experience. I actually, I wanted to walk around and be like, just in disbelief.
Next year, we got to plan it.
Yeah, well, so all right, here we go. So there are of the 100 people I saw. This is not pulling punches. If you get offended, I don't know. Don't listen because I'm not even making fun. I saw 100 people. This is what I saw. I saw 4 very elaborate furries. If there's about 100 people that I watch walk through the lobby, there's 4 very elaborate ones. There's probably 10 low budget ones. And the rest of them were probably 85 short, chubby white guys that were wearing a bunch of rainbow stuff.
Yeah.
Who didn't even have gear on. They just, I guess they're hardcore followers. I only saw probably 3 girls.
I think that's more odd than dressing up as a cat and going to a convention.
By just being a cheerleader of it, or
by
what?
just being, that's creeperish.
I know, but you know what's funny about me saying that? Because I wanted to buy that ticket and go, and what am I?
But you're doing it for.
I'm a short, white, chubby guy.
You're doing it for documentation purposes, though.
Yeah, well, nobody was gonna know because I was gonna look like everybody else.
Yeah, we gotta plan it and get a camera in there with a mic, and we should just interview as many furries as we possibly can.
I actually wanted to do an interview, and anybody listening that, because if you're at your house, because who may be like, why are you entertaining this? I'm not entertaining it. I did want to actually interview somebody Like respectfully,
Yeah.
just to be, just like how do you get here? Like what
Yes.
what made you
Yes.
get into this?
Yes.
I mean, I know why people do the Star Wars thing. They love Star Wars. I love Star Wars movies. I don't dress up to go to the movies, but I remember when episode 1, 2, and 3 came out with Jar Jar Binks, like those, whatever they were called. Episode 1, 2, and 3. When I first went to the movies, people at the theater waiting in line were dressed up like,
Oh yeah.
Lightsabers. Or
Yep.
had lightsabers with them. I didn't dress up, but I was fine with it. I love Star Wars.
I think that's nerdy.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm going to be real broad because I don't talk about work, but that thing I've been doing in Pittsburgh for so long, we finished it.
That's good. Round of applause.
Yeah, I will say this, get very broad. I was on the news about 10 times in Pittsburgh, the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was behind, and apparently Pittsburgh didn't have anything else to talk about. So
Yeah.
talk about this project I'm on. Yeah, so we got it turned over, and it's fine. And the place was open today,
Oh, good.
day one. The community was excited, I guess. I was going to tell more. I decided not to.
No, that's good.
Now I decided I'm not going to talk about that.
Since it's been so long, I want to know your thoughts about, well, if you've even seen it, the thought of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg fighting each other.
I mean, I saw those random things on Facebook. Is that real?
I thought it was fake. No, it is. Well, if they're going to, I'm still confused about, but they both 100% are like training with different professional people.
Now, I saw the pictures of Mark Zuckerberg, and he actually looks like he's really training for something.
Well, he's done, like, he has a jiu-jitsu background.
Well, okay.
Whatever.
I watched this wrestling documentary a long time ago about a DuPont guy.
Yeah.
And he loved wrestling so much, and he had a wrestling school, and he had some world-class wrestlers, and then he wanted to get into wrestling, so they did a fake match with the guy just so he could win.
Oh,
they
yeah,
gave him a
yeah,
medal.
yeah.
That's how I feel when you say he has a background in it.
True.
That's the background he has
True.
in it. He's training with Asanya.
Yep.
He even though Asanya I did see this. He's like, oh, it's for real. He's training for real. Asanya would just backhand him one time and it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's not real. But having said that, Elon Musk and Zuckerberg, if Zuckerberg is really training with those people that I saw on the Facebook post, if he really actually is, Elon Musk is not going to beat him.
I hate to tell you this. All Elon has to do is get that chip that he made implanted where he gets to access like all of his brain, and Mark Zuckerberg, he's done.
Just with his eyes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like when Superman, the old Superman movies with Christopher Reeves, when he would shoot lasers out of his eyes, he would squint them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
When he squints them like that, Zuckerberg's over.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, malfunctions.
Yeah.
You think that's real?
I think so. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but I think that they both think that it is.
Would it sell tickets, I wonder?
1000%.
You think?
It's two super nerds fighting. So, yes.
I don't know. They are world-class nerds, though.
Yes.
Two billionaire.
Two billionaire nerds, yes.
Speaking of that, side note, because using that term, I saw these clothes today. Billionaire Boys Club.
Yeah.
I thought they looked kind of cool.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
I'm not a hoodie wearer, but the ones I saw was
Yeah,
hoodies.
yeah.
But I thought they looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very. I went loafer shopping today. For some real elaborate ones.
Yeah,
I found some.
I've been loafer shopping with you before.
I found some, but I just didn't like it. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I don't wear Steve Maddens. I think they're trash.
Yeah.
No, not God. See, you can't say that. I don't think they're trash if you have them. I don't buy them because they don't last long. If you buy fine leather shoes, they're gonna last. Those kinds of shoes are shoes that you'd resole.
Yeah.
When they get old. The Steve Maddens that are they just fall. They fall apart. You should just throw them away.
Yeah.
They're not like. That's all I meant. I didn't really mean it as bad as I just said. Well, listen, I'll tell you what. I guess we'll let's get off here. Let's
We'll
call
wrap
this
it
good.
up.
Listen,
Yeah.
everybody, thanks for listening. I've been here a while, and it's good to be back. I'll probably not do that anymore. So people like Bo and Sarah, don't complain. And Lindsay, don't complain. We're back. All right, love everybody. Have a good week.
Put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And that.